All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving break, got together with family and friends and kind of just chilled or worked extra hours or whatever you needed to do. We have week 11 in front of us here and our last week of regular classes, and then we'll have a final exam on Tuesday. I'm going to hold that final face-to-face. If you have any problem with that, just communicate with me and we can work something out where you can take it at an alternative time or online. I'm totally okay with that if your work or family life requires you to be other places. I can handle that. So, but you do have to communicate with me this week so we can set it up. We'll have one lab this week. I'll talk about it in a second. Your projects look really good and really fun. I'm still going through them. Not all of you have submitted the final version. So in this class, in GE115 AutoCAD, you can just go back into that project start thread and submit your final version. So I'm going to wait a little bit before I grade those up. Again, I'm not really looking at how you designed it or what it is, but I'm looking at how you share the information with me and what your drawings look like. So that'll be this last project too, will be really just for me to see how you put it all together in a project. So the grade book's up to date. Other than that, make sure you go in and look at those comments that I post. That's where I give you feedback on your drawings. So some of you, when you create the PDF, you're either losing some pieces of information or they just weren't there. Like some didn't have hatching in your sections. Some of you didn't have cutting plane lines to show where your section goes. And then some of you had cutting plane lines, but not in the phantom or dashed line type. So we have to get all those details correct to make it look appropriate. You can always go look at some other drawings that get submitted by your fellow students. And I encourage you to do that. Look at it and see what theirs looks like. There's some outstanding ones in there, and then there's some that are missing things. So, use all of that to your advantage to learn from if you're not getting 100% on those assignments. So any late assignments need to be in by Friday if you want to get any points. I will give you a few points for a late assignment. So, but it's Friday is a cutoff. If it's not there by Friday, the 0 will hold. I put zeros in for stuff that I haven't received. So everybody should go in and look at that and make sure that I didn't miss something, because some of you actually have emailed me stuff, and if it didn't get submitted, maybe I didn't remember to grade the email. Anyway, it's your responsibility to check me. So that's what's going on there. This week, it's got to happen. All right. So your last assignment is going to be another open-ended assignment where it's not fully defined, but I do have some definitions for you for it. I'm going to make myself a little smaller here so you can just focus on what we're going to draw. So what we're going to draw is a spatula. Yep. So you can find one here. I'm going to open this, move it up a little bit. You can find one in your kitchen. This is the one. This is my favorite spatula. Of course, I like a wood handle. It doesn't get too hot, and a big platform for flipping those big pancakes, right? But I'm going to have you do a detailed drawing of this, right? That means 2 or 3 views. Some things only require 2 views, but other things are going to take 3 views. So probably a side view for sure on this one, this kind of view, right? And then a top view. So here's the parameters for it. 2 or 3 views on B-size paper with a title block, just like you've done, and I would guess you would use your template for that. 1/8" text on the dimensions, 3/16 text on any notes. And I do want you to put some notes on there because we're going to modify this spatula and fix the spatula problem that I'll tell you in a second. All right, so you got to customize it a little bit. And I do want a section of the handle just so I know that we all kind of understand sections. So for that, you're going to take a view and you're going to like cut through it. So the cut could be, through it this way, and then you could just arrow out. So we just look at that area that's been cut, right? Or it could be this way. You could cut through it this way. So remember that your section view. So maybe if this is the top view of that handle, and then the spatula comes out of there, and does its spatula thing like that. And then it looks like it had 3 fasteners. So that's kind of the top view of this spatula. And of course, I'm going to want you to use instruments and make a very clean, crisp drawing. Oh, sorry, this is AutoCAD. I'm going to want you to use AutoCAD, obviously. All right, so then the section could be, and remember the section cutting plane line is supposed to be a phantom that is showing the cut and then also showing the view that we're going to look at. So that means we're going to look at it from this way, right? And then I'm going to label this section. I could label it anything, D, D, and then somewhere I should be able to go find that section. So this is where the knife cuts and the view takes place, right? Maybe this should have came all the way out and down. However you want to do it, it's up to you how you make that section, like what you cut through. But this would be interesting because it would show the fasteners, right? And allow us to do some dimensioning within the section. Okay, so cutting plane line is a phantom line or a dash line, and it should be the thickest line on the drawing, super thick. So we did do some exercises like that, and many of you did a fantastic job. So if you didn't get full credit on yours, look through those exercises that were submitted, and you'll probably see why you didn't get full credit. Remember the hatching? You're going to hatch in the area where the knife actually cuts material. So on this thing, there are no holes. It's filled with brass plugs. That's what it looks like, right? So when you cut through that, it's going to create a section view, something like this. And then it's going to have these plugs in it. I'm kind of overemphasizing those, but and then so all of this would get hatched. But for different materials like wood and there would be I think there's a center here too, because it's got this metal in the middle, right? So it would look something like that, I'm guessing. We'd show this metal and we'd see these plugs. So this is a pretty good one, right? It's kind of a good section to draw. Each material then would get its own angle. And I would do each part differently. So I might do that one this way, this one this way, showing that those are separate parts. And yes, this actually would get hatched too. And I don't really know how that's probably not even going to show up much. But then this one maybe is, kind of something like this, where none of them line up and none of them are horizontal. That's how we would do it. Each material would get its own hatch pattern. So the wood would get its own hatch pattern. And these could be the same. They're just 2 separate pieces on mine. So I probably would do them differently, like that, 2 separate pieces. Actually different thicknesses, right? This is thin, this is thick. All right, so look for a spatula that has some interesting features to it that you think you can draw. You can use my design of my spatula if you want and just throw some dimensions to it, like you had one too type of thing. That would be fine. All right, so that's the section that I want. So 2 or 3 views, fully dimensioned with notes telling me about your spatula and a section of the handle. And then I want the design change. So the problem with my spatula is when I make street tacos, right? That requires quite a bit of grease on the griddle. So when I go to flip them, I get grease on this spatula. And then I lay it down like that on the counter, and all the grease comes down and then goes right on the counter. I would like you to solve that problem. I don't want grease to go down onto the counter. I want it to be not on the counter. So that'll be a design change, and that'll be a new spatula design that I haven't seen yet. So I'm really interested to see what you guys do to keep the grease on the spatula and off of my counter. All right, engineers, good luck. I'll put up a little video on Friday for a review of the final, but this project will be very similar to the final. You will have to do these things on the final. So this is good practice for it. The other thing about this assignment, it is also an extra credit assignment. So if you do this, I think it's worth 30 points is what I made it worth. So you do this assignment, you get 30 points for the assignment, but you also get 30 points towards another assignment that you want to apply it to, your lowest score. So if you have a 0 on something, not a graded problem, not an exam, just an assignment, a lab, okay? If you have a 0 on one of them, you can use this score to plop it in there, whatever score you get. If you get a 20, then you get a 20 on this and you have 20 points to apply to another assignment, okay? All right, so it's an extra credit assignment also. You had to watch the video to get that information. So hopefully you got it. All right, that's it. Have a great week. And I will talk to you all on Friday. Good luck in your other classes, wrapping up the term.